This is a leadership question. Please tell us how you use your office and what your top priority is on day one.
Well, thank you very much for allowing me to come here tonight to speak with all of you. My name is Fong Law. I'm a candidate for Alameda County Assessor. I am one of the most blessed individuals you will ever meet in this world. I came to America when I was 2 years old as a refugee from Vietnam. My family came here where we didn't speak a word of English, didn't have a penny in my pocket. But we were blessed to come to Alameda County. It was Alameda County, through a social worker, who told my parents that they can go to community college, learn a trade, and the county will help subsidize their education. Imagine that. In 1980, we had free community college. My dad picked lettuce during the day. My mom worked in the garment factory. Both of them went to school at night, got better paying jobs, started their own little small business, and through that small business, they were able to send me to college and to law school. After law school, I wanted to come back home to Alameda County.
Thank you.
Well,
You'll get a chance to finish that. Thank you for your introduction. Please give the audience an overview of what the assessor is, what the work is, and how it impacts community of color in Alameda County.
The number one function of the assessor's office is to evaluate and assess the value of your property and your business equipment if you own a business. The assessor's office touches everyone's life, whether you're a property owner, a business owner, or a renter. Fair taxation results making sure that your property taxes, your business taxes are fair and accurate, results in better relationship with the government, better relationships with the communities. It was back 10 years ago when I first thought about running for this job. 10 years ago during the Great Recession, I helped start a free legal clinic here in Oakland. During that legal clinic in 2009, 2010, 2011, property values had gone down in our county from about $800,000 to $400,000. In property tax terms, that's about $600 a month difference.
Thank you. Go ahead and finish your statement.
Okay. It was in 2009, 2010, 2011, when I was trying to help people, and we went to the assessor's office to get their property taxes reduced. The assessor's office would say, file an appeal. Well, the appeal process in this county takes 2 years. And during those 2 years, unfortunately, almost everyone I tried to help ended up losing their homes. So when we're talking about minority communities, people of color, we're talking about some of the people who lost their homes. The hardest hit communities were lower income communities, minority communities. You need an assessor who has compassion and understanding. Because guess what? As hard as things are now, it's going to get worse when the recession hits again. We're in a cycle, in a bubble right now. And when that happens, you want an assessor who's going to go out to the community, reach out and say, let us know you feel you're being overtaxed. We're not going to require you to file an appeal. We're going to say, let's sit down informally and look at your home. Some assessors did that in 2009, 2010, 2011. And what they did was they went across the board and said, this community is hurting. We're going to reduce the rolls by 20%. If the people there feel like it should be more, they can come in and let us know that they should be reduced more.
Thank you so much. In the last 30 seconds, please give us your closing statement and information on how the voters can get in touch with you for more additional information.
Well, thank you again for inviting me here tonight. It means a lot to me to be able to come out and reach out to all the communities in our county. My campaign information is pretty simple. It's just votefonglaw.com. You can learn a little bit more about myself, my background, my family. I got a picture of my wife and daughter on there. You know, I've been lectured that I didn't have their name on there, so that's going to change. But I would appreciate your consideration of your vote on November 6th. Thank you for creating this type of forum, this atmosphere to reach out to the community. My big platform issue, just if you give me 30 seconds, would be outreach to the community, making sure that communities understand what the assessor does and how it affects your life. Working with the legislature, working with members of the city and the county to have programs that work with disadvantaged, economically disadvantaged communities to encourage local businesses. The assessor's office goes out and assesses those businesses. Let's see if we can come up with a formula where those property taxes, those equipment taxes are reduced in communities where we need certain businesses, where there are food deserts. Let's find a way to get grocery stores in there. A grocery store pays a huge amount of property and equipment tax. Let's work with the county and the city and the state to revitalize these communities. And it starts with the taxes.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Wow, y'all give it up for him. Who is running for Alameda County Assessor. Leaders, thank you for coming and giving us your time. You will be given 45 seconds to introduce yourself
and an overview of why you are seeking the vote in support of this base, and welcome to Organizing for Power. We will start with Ms. Beckles.
45 seconds. Okay, my name is Javanka Beckles. I'm a two-term Richmond City Council member. I've been on the Richmond City Council for 8 years, doing the work of improving the quality of life for Richmond residents. I was reelected because the community saw that my #1 priority has always been and will continue to be putting people and the needs of the people on the planet above the profit of corporations. Now, Shirley Chisholm said that if we don't have a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Well, when we all, as a community, elected Tony Thurmond, but now that he is vacating that seat, it's up to us to make sure that we keep that seat at the table. We need to have a seat at the table, and with your support, we can maintain that seat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
45 seconds.
Ms. Wicks.
Thank you all so much for being here tonight. I'm honored to be here with you all. My name is Buffy Wicks. I'm running for Assembly District 15. I am born and raised in the great state of California. I grew up a very humble upbringing. Grew up in a trailer, didn't come from a lot, went to community college, worked my way up in progressive politics for 20 years. I was an organizer in the labor movement. I was an organizer for Howard Dean. I was an organizer for Barack Obama. I was employee number 32 for him. I moved to Chicago in March of 2007 to work for him. I worked for him for 6 years. I worked for him in the White House. I helped pass the Affordable Care Act. I helped get Justice Sotomayor, the first Latina Supreme Court justice, confirmed. I worked on a number of issues for him. I'm running for the seat because I believe we need to create equitable social safety nets that allow all of our children good access to public schools and all of our children to breathe clean air and drink clean water. And I care about these issues deeply. I want to go to Sacramento, not just vote the right way, but fight the right way and lead the right way. And that's why Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, and many others have supported me. I'd be honored to have your support tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidates, you were provided 3 questions to prepare for tonight. I'm going to read all 3 of the questions for the benefit of the audience, and please tell them which one you're answering.
Question number 1 is, what impact might changes to the Federal Affordable Health Care Act have on California residents and taxpayers, particularly those living in AB 15? 2, it appears the majority of people under our freeways and living in homeless encampments and at most risk of housing displacement are Black. What policies, programs, and strategies have you or will you support and to implement to address this particular challenge? 3, African Americans continue to be in the lower percentile for success on a number of key social, economic, and health indicators. In the area of education, what policies will you propose and implement to create positive outcomes for Black students? We will start with Ms. Wicks.
And we pick ones that
Yes.
Okay, great. And are
Did those were provided to you?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I didn't know if you picked it or we pick it.
No, you pick it.
And are we answering all 3?
Whatever you like.
Oh, you just answered one. Okay.
How much
Sorry.
time do we have?
You have 45 seconds. Ms.
Okay.
Brackett says 45 seconds.
Okay. On the area of education, California is ranked 47th out of 50th in standard of living for kids. Our 3rd grade math and reading scores are 43rd in the nation. Our per pupil spending is 46th in the nation. And yet we are one of the richest economies in the world. We have the highest concentration of millionaires and billionaires. There's a number of things we have to do. We have to pay our teachers more money. And right now, the starting salary is $46,000 in Oakland Unified School District. That is not enough. We have to provide more professional development, more mentoring, more coaching. We have to look at the total social and emotional learning around children. That means supporting restorative justice programs. That means school therapists, school nurses, these types of programs. On higher ed, 3% of the incoming students at UC Berkeley last year were Black. 3%. I'm a big supporter of repealing Prop 209, the affirmative action, getting that back on place, getting affirmative action back, and a whole other suite of things on education to deal with the racial inequities in our education system.
Thank you so much. Ms. Beckles.
So I'm really proud to be endorsed by the California Teachers Association, the California Federation of Teachers, over 20 unions and locals. And the reason for that is that they have seen the work that I've done for students and teachers. I'm a wraparound facilitator for Contra Costa County. I've been doing that for 18 years, right here in AD 15, right here in Richmond. And so I'm answering number 3 because we are the bottom percentage as Black Americans. And the way that we solve that problem is, you can see on my platform, javanka.org, and that is, number one, we have to have free childcare. We have to have free preschool, because by the time our children, most families that I work with, and I've seen, upfront and personal, mothers having a hard time going to work and going to school because they don't have childcare. In the 5th largest economy with the largest concentration of wealth, we can afford to have free college tuition as well. That's how we get us back to where we need to be.
Thank you so very much. You can hold the mic because you are now in the rapid fire 1 minute wrap up.
Okay.
You all have waited all night, y'all showing some love. Ms. Beckles,
Oh my
if you would give us in your closing remarks, why the voters should vote for you and information on how to get more information about your campaign.
I asked the voters to vote for me because take a look at who is endorsing me. I'm endorsed by Bobby Seale himself. This is his room dedicated to him. Bobby Seale has endorsed me. Erica Huggins, also one of the Black Panthers, has endorsed me. Elaine Brown has endorsed me. And as I said, so many community organizations have endorsed this campaign, my campaign, not because of who I am, but because of Javanka Beckles. This is a movement. It is a movement for us to start making sure, demanding that government works for us. It's a movement to ensure that your elected officials put you first and not corporations. And how do you know someone is not gonna put the corporations first? Look at where their money is coming from. My money comes from the majority of 80-15. Over 80% comes from 80-15. That's you and me. Now, I don't know Barack Obama. I voted for him, but I don't know him. But I do know you. I know 80-15. I know the mothers that are struggling every single day to pay rent. I know the children that are struggling in school. So thank you. I'd be honored to have your support. This district is diverse. We need to have a diverse representative to represent us and give us a voice at the table. Thank you so much.
Website, quickly.
Javanka.org.
Thank you. Ms. Wicks.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. I think we are in a critical moment in this nation's history right now when we have a president wrapping himself around a white nationalist flag. We're gonna look back on this moment 10, 20, 30 years from now and say, what did you do then? For me, I decided to run for this seat. I decided to run for this seat because I want to create equitable social safety nets that allow all of our children to have access to good schools, and safe public transportation, and affordable housing for all. And I want to move towards a single payer system. I care about all these good progressive liberal issues because I've worked in progressive politics for 20 years. I have the experience working on big, vexing public policy issues at the highest levels. I have the relationships. I can work well with Gavin. I can work well with Kamala. I can work well, London Breed, who's endorsed me. A lot of our leaders, the majority of the mayors in this district, 15 labor unions, Planned Parenthood, the community health centers have supported my campaign because they know I can go to Sacramento and get stuff done for the residents of 8015. I want to go there and build the diverse coalitions that it's going to require to move the needle on these issues. I humbly ask for your support. Please go to my website, buffywicks.com, for more information. Thank you very, very much.
All right, leaders, if you would stand together for just one moment, stand up together at the same time. Y'all show them some love. It's really, really hard. And they've been on the campaign trail a really long time. Thank you both, leaders, for your dedication to the community and for coming out tonight. We really appreciate that you showed up to give us your time and attention. Again, there's literature on this race. On the literature table. As they have taken their absence, we will welcome to the dais the candidates for Oakland mayor.
I just ran for governor, came in like 9 for 10th out of 27 candidates because Twitter and Facebook, they shadow banned my account. So I'm suing them for like $150 million in court right now. I have a plan to bring in 100,000 jobs, be correct. By turning our sizable parks into theme park attractions to attract like 50 million tourists. If Boring Lagoon, museum in Paris could draw 7.5 million tourists a year, I think I could do 50 million with the open parks and recreations. Imagine giant water slides at Lake Marion.
Thank you so much. Next candidate.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ken Houston. I could never finish my statement, so I'm going to read it. I'm running for the Oakland mayor to continue to create. I'm going to keep using create and share throughout this whole forum. A better city to live in. I will not just make jobs available, I will continue, to say that word, continue to build skill sets and make careers available so that every man and woman in Oakland who's willing to work hard, can earn a living wage. I will continue, I'm gonna keep saying continue and share. I will continue to beautify our community by fighting against illegal dumping and other safety issues. And if you look me up, you'll see that's what I'm fighting. I will continue to build affordable housing that will help decrease homeless rates, and so Oaklanders can purchase homes affordably.
Thank you so much.
Libby Schaaf.
Good evening, my name is Libby Schaaf. I am born and raised in Oakland, graduated from Skyline High School, and have been proud to be the mayor of our hometown for the last 4 years. When we come together, we can start to make progress with some of Oakland's most pressing problems, like finally building desperately needed housing, like finally paving the roads, those raggedy roads. And there's nothing I am more passionate about than education. The Oakland Promise, an innovative, ambitious, cradle-to-career set of supports for students and their families that already in its first year has shown double-digit increases for college enrollment for our African American and Latino students. And of course, you all raised me as an Oaklander to be someone who values diversity. It was my pleasure to stand up for this community against our racist president when he came for our community. Thank you for your consideration tonight.
Thank you. Marshawn Tapp.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marshawn Tapman, and I'm also an Oakland native and went through all Oakland public schooling myself. I have wrapping up my doctorate in public administration and policy, a master's in public administration, a BA in political science, a minor in psychology, and I did all of them at the highest level. My vision for Oakland is making Oakland a more equitable Oakland, in which we bring opportunity for everybody in the city. Part of that vision is the Hagenberger Tourist Hub, because we are about to lose 2 sports teams, and we haven't talked about a plan to replace the hundreds of millions of dollars that's about to walk out the city. I want to make sure that we have opportunity for every resident in Oakland to invest in this parcel so we can receive profit, dividends, and create a residual income for our family, create an inheritance.
Thank you so much. Kat Brooks.
Good evening, my name is Kat Brooks. I am an executive director, a community organizer, an artist, a wife, a mother, and someone who loves this community deeply. I'm running for the 6,000 people that are sleeping on our streets every night. I'm running for Sarah, the unhoused woman who held me and begged me to never forget who I'm fighting for. I'm running for the artists and the teachers and the elders who can no longer afford to live in this city. In the Oakland I see an Oakland where we invest in prevention rather than criminalization. I see an Oakland where housing is a human right. I see an Oakland where we do not pay to be developed on top of, but developers pay to develop here because this is one of the most amazing cities in the country. I see an Oakland where we develop policy in partnership with the people instead of on top of the people or where they're most impacted. Those of us that are the most oppressed and have been the most forgotten, ignored, have a seat at the table and help forge a path to a just and equitable Oakland.
Thank you so much.
My name is Jesse Smith, and I can be described as a single-issue candidate. I'm running to be a target for the ballot if you agree with this, my proposal. In ranked choice voting, it's very important to vote your heart. You can vote for a single-issue candidate, a candidate that represents a community or a friend of yours if they're running, and still vote for a more practical candidate with a wider platform. My proposal is 100% civilian administration of police, eliminating the political power and autonomy of police. No chief of police, they should not have a chief of their own to be in charge of themselves. No internal affairs, make everything external.
Saeed Karamuz.
Good evening. My name is Saeed Karamuz. I was born in a remote village outside of the border with Iraq. 40 years ago, I escaped the horror of a bloody revolution by coming to America. So it is with this spirit that I understand where our refugees and immigrants who have been displaced out of their homes due to economic hardship, political unrest, natural disaster, and violence. But displacement is displacement. So it is with the same spirit that I stand with our local communities who are displaced out of their homes that they've lived for generations because they cannot afford the rent. I'm in this race for the hardworking families who cannot make ends meet. I'm in this race for the young youth who are deprived of the upward mobility due to, due to education, and the senior citizens who have to make a choice between paying the rent for medicine.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming out to Mayor tonight. My name is Cedric True. This is my community. I grew up here in Oakland, California. I actually graduated, went through OUSD, graduated, and actually came here to Merritt for a year before I transferred over to San Francisco State. You know, God has been good to me in my business. I designed this whole high-end multimedia systems. And about 10 years ago, in 2010, I came back into the school district to get the pool open because that was the resource that was available to me in this community growing up. And when I saw the dysfunction in the school district, it was disheartening. And so it's almost like a contractor that pulls back a layer of drywall and he sees a bunch of other rotten stuff. And so you go to City Hall, you see the dysfunction of City Hall for lack of leadership. We're not using any kind of creativity to generate revenue for our city, and we're taxing everybody. And just to see what's happening in my city is just disheartening, so I'm stepping up to the local thing.
Thank you so much. Nancy Seiboff.
My name is Nancy Seiboff, and I'm running. Why am I running? It's easy to tell you why I'm not running, what I'm not running for. I'm not running to gain access to higher office. I'm not running because I have been co-opted into being a front for some good old boys who figured out the benefits of the female face in their plans. I'm not running because I have created a behind-the-scenes economy for my groupies. I'm not running because I love the media attention and I know how to divert it from the real issues. I am running because years of citizen involvement in the city services, offices, and institutions has given me an in-depth knowledge of how things are supposed to work. Years of neighborhood involvement have instilled a constant love for the diversity of people and personalities of our population. Years of handling clients' taxes, business plans, have also provided a firm background regarding the mechanics of budgets, investments, audits, etc. And 7 decades of being an American has distilled the knowledge that we can all do better. But we are as good as the weakest link in our system. I know where the weakest links are on it, and I know how to fix them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Pamela Price.
Good evening. My name is Pamela Price. I'm a civil rights lawyer. I've been a member of this community for more than 40 years. I'm running for mayor because Oakland is at a crossroads. The mayor has tremendous influence on how we respond to our homelessness crisis and provide affordable housing, how we treat those who suffer from addictions or mental illness, whether we hold bad cops accountable for bad acts. I'm a survivor of the Ohio Juvenile Justice and Foster Care System. I only made it from the streets of Cincinnati to Yale College by the grace of God. I've had a wonderful career as a lawyer in Oakland and been able to get real results representing everyday people. My vision for Oakland is to rise above homelessness, provide fair and affordable housing, equity, and results for Oakland. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you so very much. Candidates, this next question, you will have 30 seconds to say what new policies would you implement and which old policies would you change in order to increase community trust with the police department. We will start this round with the one who was in the middle of the last round, which is Cat Brooks.
Thank you. So we need to increase police accountability and transparency, which means we need to be working on shifting the laws that prevent that at both the state and the local levels. I was a co-sponsor on 2 bills that went to Sacramento, and I will continue to champion that for the people. Additionally, we need to work with the current commission that we do have in Oakland to make it truly independent and not in the hands of our mayor and or our city council. Third, if we want police to do differently, we need to direct them to do differently. We will immediately direct our police officers to not ask every black and brown person that they pull over whether they are on probation or parole, and we'll put an end to practices that increase racial profiling.
Thank you. Mr. Smith.
As I described before, my proposal is to create a civilian administration, eliminating the political power of not just the police, but also the police union. As we know, the police union is instrumental in influencing elected officials and has an inherently corrupt relationship with the DA. By bringing it all under civilian control, the police would occupy a position within a public safety department similar to the way janitors occupy a position within the public education system. And immediately on a day one basis, we must get rid of the known rapists in OPD. They can't be on the streets anymore.
Thank you. Mr. Tappan.
Immediately, we will change the ratio of the officers we hire in the city of Oakland and change it so we hire more people from the community of Oakland. We have created a cadet program in which we follow the youngsters through so they can be police in their own community. We'll make sure that we put people in a community that has similarities to the community. And we'll make sure that we change the policy when it comes to pulling over people of color and asking, are they on probation or parole? We'll make sure that we put a percentage in place so we can hire eventually all the officers from the city of Oakland.
Thank you so very much. Mr.
Peter.
We have to rely less on police, and in order to do that, we'll have each police officer set up a neighborhood watch of 25 volunteers, and also with surveillance at intersections, because that's needed to track the illegal dumpings and all the crimes that's happening. We need a system to track people engaged in crime, and in order to do that, we have to have the civilian population engage in solving these crimes as well. So a neighborhood watch, they should be armed, because we have issues here that the police can't solve themselves, especially if they have like sideshows where the officers are outnumbered.
Thank you so much. Ms. Saigon.
Oakland only has less than 600 officers. We're being told that we have close to 800, 750, 775. We have less than 600 officers in the city. And the question about whether you're on parole or there's a warrant out for you, that's no longer being asked. There's a lot of people involved in NCPC's Neighborhood Watch and outreach through the schools and stuff. We have a cadet program with the police department. Getting people more involved to understand what the laws are and how to respect the law, which is part of the problem, is we've learned not to respect the law anymore.
Thank you so much. Mr. True.
Fundamentally, there's a disconnect between the police department and the citizens of Oakland, as we all know. And so with that, I think you infiltrate that from within, you try to get the route to the police academy. I think you drop that down to the high schools and try to change the culture of police in the community. We have an OK program. We have African-American officers that go into the community and mentor young men. That program needs to be supported more. You have to, take leadership in this where it's a us and a them headspace. And so if you have more locally hired officers that are walking from their condo downtown or riding their bicycle instead of having to hop on the freeway and leave our community, they're not connected. So I think we need to have more interaction with the community.
Thank you. Mr. Houston.
The mayor's position is to hire a city administrator and create the budget. I would hire a city administrator that would hire a police officer that, a department is as strong as the police officer. I would hire another police officer, a police captain. And I sat on the Citizens Police Academy, and what I noticed is that cadets, he just mentioned about cadets. The cadets, when they train, they would have to serve in the community, live in the community that they serve, they trained in.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kerrigan.
I'm a member of the Coalition Police Accountability that was the driving force behind Measure LL that passed with 83% approval and created the most powerful police commission in the country with the authority to hire and fire the chief. We did it in spite of what the mayor resisted, and she insisted to have 3 of the 7 commissioners as a direct appointment by her. I will commit to having those 3 positions, those 3 appointees directed back to the community so that the community can decide who gets there. Number 2, I will withdraw from Urban Shield. And number 3, I will recruit Oakland police officers so we don't have 90% of officers coming in town from outside.
Thank you, Ms. Price.
I would hold bad cops accountable for bad acts. I would insist on transparency within the department and within our relationship with the community. For instance, when we have officer-involved shootings or deaths or beatings, if there are video, which there should be, we would be using body cams. I would release those body cams and those videos to the community as soon as possible. I would support the newly created police commission and give it independent powers and staffing to be able to investigate officer misconduct. I would internally create a culture of transparency and reward officers who demonstrate integrity and commitment to the community. I would open up the officer training process so that it includes time spent with community members prior to hire.
Ms. Shep.
Policing is one of the most polarizing issues that we face right now in America. We have got to continue to push policies that de-escalate the use of force and moments of high stress, as well as reduce officer discretion, which has in the past clearly been abused. We also have to work at the state level to do things like we accomplished this year, which is to abolish this cash bail system that was oppressive, to revise the officer privacy issues. But what I'm most passionate about is bringing a pre-arrest diversion program for our youth. We know that they are damaged when they go in jail unnecessarily. We have got to be more understanding for our young people.
Thank you. Leaders, Oakland is the 8th largest city in the state. It has the 5th largest active port in the nation, but it is a city that is riddled with financial challenges. We are working with a structural deficit. Please, in 30 seconds, tell us your ideas for addressing the fiscal health of the city of Oakland, and we will start this round with Mr. Shrew.
Yes, you mentioned the port, and the port, we're missing out on opportunities in the port. There are a number of different shipping agencies that are making a lot of money when the city is not capitalizing on that. There are a number of cranes that are not operative. A lot of those cranes are making millions of dollars, but we don't have that from the revenue to the city. I haven't had one gentleman work in the port city who have a car wash, or not a car wash, but a truck wash for all the trucks that come through the port to be able to even have that service available. So there's different ways you can really generate revenue from the port, and the Jack Nicklaus Square is one of them.
Thank you. Mr. Carolus.
The city of Oakland has $1 billion a year budget. Of that, a quarter goes through policing. This is a sad day when we literally have to spend $250 million on policing ourselves. In that budget, is another $30 million that's in unbudgeted overtime each year, and it has been a persistent cost. That is, I will start with that $30 million. I will use that money towards programs that are for education, for housing, for jobs, that will begin to at least get that budget under control. And there's a lot more money that we can find in the way the city is run.
Thank you, Ms. Craig.
I agree with Saeed Carolus that too much of our money is spent on police expenses, so I would certainly work to reduce the amount of overtime. I would also work to reduce the amount that we pay for settlements, for whether it's for police violence and misconduct, or whether it's for negligence. We paid $12 million this year for an accident. And so we have to retrain our officers and reinstill in them a respect for the community so that they're not racing through the streets, running people over, costing us money. I would also begin to reduce and address the unfunded liabilities that are threatening the reserves and the opportunity for our children. I start to pay those down, treat them like a credit card.
Thank you so much. Mr. Wood.
We need to turn this city into the #1 city for sex and romance tourism, which draws 50 million people here. We're gonna have massive revenues for our business, and it should be done. I'm a self-made multi-millionaire. I know how it's done, all right? If you don't have the business here, you don't have the revenue, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brooks. Pull it together, y'all, pull it together. Ms. Brooks.
Thank you. We need to eliminate waste, which includes an immediate audit, a complete audit of all of our city departments, including the police department, but they are not the only people that are not handling their budget very well. We need new revenue streams. We need to be looking at things like a gross sales receipt tax for our big business. So a major law firm in the city of Oakland pays about $13 for every 1,000. One more dollar doesn't hurt them, but it could bring millions of dollars into the city if we did that across the board. And we need to grow and bring jobs. We need to identify jobs that are businesses that have Oakland values, that are gonna pay a living wage, that are gonna support unionization. We need to invest in our workforce development and train Oaklanders for those jobs.
Thank you, Ms.
Oakland's problem is we have no sales tax base, and we have no businesses in Oakland. Yes, we have individuals I'm a self-employed individual, and we have a lot of self-employed people in Oakland, but we don't have enough businesses to bring jobs to Oakland. One of the ideas that I'm putting forth is that when the A's move down to Howard Terminal, that we make the Coliseum from San Leandro Boulevard, Hagenberger to High Street, including the airport all the way down, an industrial park where businesses can come, we can build hotels, motels, and bring in restaurants and stuff so that we have jobs for people to come, that we can employ these kids on the streets instead of having them shoot themselves.
Thank you so very much. Mr. Tapp.
So we definitely need to utilize a property transfer tax so we can put more money back in the community and create different streams of revenue for the city. We need to go ahead and implement the Hagenberger Tourist Hub, in which we bring 300 small businesses to that area. Utilize the revenue bar tram to the airport, create a stop so we can create village-like stores there so people can come spend their money in Oakland. We need to make sure we stern with investors. We need to put our foot down. We need to ask ourselves and do a cost-benefit analysis and see if it's smart to pay $30 million in overtime to the police officers or hire more officers and just pay their benefits, because that's the problem.
Lynette, you know I'm gonna resist the temptation to geek out about the rainy day policy that I passed, the structural real estate, or progressive real estate transfer tax that's on the ballot. The best way to actually make Oakland structurally sound is to invest in our people, to grow the pie. And we have an opportunity to do that this fall by voting for Measure AA, which would invest in quality preschool. For every dollar that we spend on early education, it actually creates $9 in saving by your government, and it is investing in our babies. That is the best investment that we can make. And then finally, let us continue to support the Kiva Oakland program. Oakland small businesses that cannot qualify for regular commercial loans, let us invest in Oaklanders expanding their businesses. They hire Oaklanders, they reinvest in this community. That is how we are going to grow the pie and be structurally sound.
Thank you so much. And for the last person in this round would be Mr. Smith.
Got it, Ben? Here.
There you go, Jess. Yeah. I'm glad the port was mentioned. It is, as far as all research I can find, it's not taxed. It's a very peculiar institution. It is, the Port of Oakland is the equivalent of having a coltan or a diamond mine on their property. It is the source of a lot of corruption and dysfunction in our city so that we can be better exploited. It is a matter of international commerce. This is the main port to China along with LA. If the Port of Oakland were eliminated, it would be like a natural disaster economically. So we need to take control of it and end its regulated so that it stops polluting us. If the port were in San Francisco, they wouldn't be taking all that pollution and they would be able to regulate it. Other than that, support all these ideas that I've heard. I'm also a proponent of participatory budgeting, which is where neighborhoods decide on how to spend the budget.
Thank you so much. Candidates, we have come to the speed round where you get to wrap it up and give us your vision for the city and your closing statements. We would ask that you limit your remarks to 1 minute. We have 10 candidates, that's 10 minutes. That means you all get to go home on time if we do this. Starting this round will be the person who was number 10 in the first round, and that is Miss Pamela Price. Yeah, 1 minute. Okay, this is your close.
For us, if we want to turn the town around, we have to turn out the vote. And I wanted to say that to you all tonight. We need results, not just words. In Oakland, we have homelessness has increased by 25% in just 3 years. 70% of those are either Black or Latinx, 30% are youth, and 86% are from Oakland. We need to address that situation. We need to rise above homelessness. We need to bring fair housing, equity, and results for Oakland. I'm all about results for Oakland. I've been here, the lens that I bring to this situation to address the complexities of the challenges that we face is very different from everyone else here. I'm a Yale-educated civil rights lawyer for 30 years, representing everyday people getting real results, fighting for justice, and ultimately being able to hold public officials accountable. That's what I bring to this, and I think that's what we need in this position, in this moment. Thank you.
Closing statement.
As a self-made multi-millionaire, I have taken college kids who in debt, you know, they start making like $30,000 a month, and that's the type of thing that I need to teach Oakland kids how to do because they don't know about capitalism, right? They don't know how to start companies. They don't know how to make the big ones, okay? So that's how I need to teach these people. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Triggs.
I got this race again because of my compassion for the young people in the city, the legacy that was given to me as a young man growing up here. And so I'm going to fight for my city. I need your support. I can't do it alone. I'm not a politician. I don't speak all the time. I don't got a 10 or 20 year track record of speaking, public speaking, but I think stuff. The last 35 years I've been designing and installing electronic systems on a high level from $10,000, and I fix stuff. I'm looking for a chance to fix some of the things that are broken in my city. That's it. Thank you.
Again, my name is Nancy Seibotham. I've lived in Oakland since 1964, went to Merritt College on Grove Street, Cal State Hayward, and my love has been Oakland. I've run for office here before in different positions, and I keep fighting for the residents of Oakland. We need to come together. We need to make sure that the money that comes into Oakland is dispersed throughout the city and not just kept downtown and the San Pablo and Telegraph area. We need to fight to make sure that Oakland is represented by all of us and for all of us. None of us up here can do it alone. We need to do it together. We have to stop being a machine-run city. And that's part of Oakland's problem, and that's part of the administration's problem right now, is it is controlled from behind the scenes, as have been a number of the other mayors in the past. And that's been Oakland's problem, and that's why we can't get things done in the city. And when we talk about gentrification and all of that, it's done on purpose, because guess what? We got developers wanting to come in here and clean house and build what they want to build. We need to change that. We need to make sure that we're part of that change and not let others run us out of town. Thank you.
We have an endless list of problems in our city, but underneath all of it is a dysfunctional government and a mayor who refuses to take responsibility for her failures. I'm the only one in this race who has been in the business of bringing vision into reality in large-scale, complex enterprises like the City of Oakland, that's a billion-dollar enterprise. I invite you to pick a flyer on the way out, read the detailed list of specific programs that I promise to deliver for you as a citizen and as a servant of the public, and understand that this is a campaign for everyone, and I am in this race for each and every resident of Oakland and not any special interest, investors, developers, or otherwise. And if an elected, I would be everyone's mayor. I welcome you to vote for me. It's either number 1, number 2, or your number 3 vote. It's a mid-rank voting. I urge you to take advantage of that and choose who you think is the best one to serve the city. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
I will bring back fear and respect that's lacking in our city. We have a lack of fear and respect in our city. Like when your mom, she beat you or hit you when you was a kid, but you knew it was love and you had that respect. We're lacking that in our city. The illegal dumping that's happening in our streets, that's just lack of respect. And we need to take care of our children. When a child is sleeping in a car, in the school that he goes to or he or she goes to, and they walk into a class and they smell like feces and urine. That's a problem that we have. I just opened a laundromat for the children, homeless children in Oakland. You can come out and see it tomorrow at 2 o'clock for the children in Oakland that need our help, that are
Future.
yeah, it's our future.
Thank you. Mr. Houston, number 7 is Mr. Smith.
No pressure though, right? As I said, I am a single issue candidate, and it's all about the issue of taking away the political power and autonomy of the police. And if you support my formula for that, I believe there should be many more candidates, perhaps on every issue and from every community. That way, our voices could be counted on issues. There's no risk of me winning, don't worry about that. Elections are won through hard work and good design. In this election, I've been working in electoral politics for some years now. Looked to Cat Brooks's campaign as the best run campaign in terms of organizing and connecting with a wide-based community. I'm not in competition with anyone here. If you support my idea, rank me number 1, because if you rank me 2 or 3, your vote will be wasted.
By the grace of God, I'm here. Because growing up as a black male in this city, I'm not supposed to be here right now. That's right. I am that Black Lives Matter. I am the person who was getting pulled over and asked, was I'm on probation or parole. I am that person who accomplished a lot in his life, and I wasn't supposed to. I'm a part of the Alpha Beta Kappa Honor Society. I'm a part of the Sigma Kappa Phi Honor Society. I've been housing the homeless for the past 2.5 years. I housed nearly 200 families in Oakland and in San Leandro. I also been in the finance industry as well. I served 8 years in the finance industry, so I know how to make a dollar in the city. I'm the person who was supposed to be killed because a lot of my friends been gunned down in this city. I had this dream since I was 16 years old when I was interning for Larry Reed, and for me to follow that dream and be at this table right now, that's an accomplishment, but it's not over. We need to vote Marshawn November 6th. Vote me as your number 1, 2, or 3 because I'm here for the struggle. I speak for the people, I am the people, and I will always fight for the people. Vote Marshawn.com.
The City of Oakland recently released an equity indicator report that demonstrates that we are failing across the board to provide quality of life opportunities to all Oakland residents. This has been acutely demonstrated over the past week or so with the fire that tore through the East 12th encampment due directly to city negligence and not responding to this crisis with humane scale. With the reports that came out that we are not down in our use of force numbers, actually OPD just wasn't reporting the use of force issues. We are in crisis at the national and at the local level, and the most important thing we can do is fight like hell at the local level. We have an obligation as the city of Oakland. We are looked to as the most progressive city in the country. We have values of justice, humanity, and equity. It's time to get back to that. I know as I travel the country, people tell me they look to Oakland for how to struggle regardless of the issue area. So if we actually live up to our name, if we actually elect progressive leadership and build progressive governance as we go, so does the country. And what a real way to resist Donald Trump. Thank you.
All right, thank you. As an Oakland native, I bring a lifetime of service to this community and a deep, deep love. And when we work together, we have made some progress, 52% reduction in gun violence in this city. We don't want to go back to the day when we were the second most violent city in America. We want to go forward where every single child born in this city knows from that first moment that education is something that this community is going to provide for them. I'm very proud to be endorsed by such a range of leaders because nobody gets anything done alone. The problems that Oakland is struggling with most are not unique to this city. We have got to work on a regional level, the state level, and I have not completely given up on the national level quite yet. I'm very proud to be endorsed by the president of Guapa, Lenise Jones. Thank you, Lenise. I'm very proud to be endorsed by many leaders throughout this community, as well as the next governor and all of our state legislators. That is how we are going to make the type of change that Oaklanders deserve, is not in isolation, but looking bigger. Thank you so much. I have demonstrated that I have stood up for Oakland while others have stood by. I will continue to stand up as your mayor. It would be my honor to have your support.
Thank you so very much. One more round.